right, you know what time it is. Woo! Get into it! Get into it! Yes! We're back! We're back with Lemony, Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events, Book 4, The Miserable Mill. We are on Chapter 9 now. We are breezing through these books, y'all. We truly are. We are doing what it is supposed to do. So, last time we were here, Klaus, unfortunately, was tripped by Foreman Flocotano yet again, and now he has to go get his glasses fixed by Dr. Orwell, and the Baudelaire sisters, Violet and Sunny, have accompanied Klaus to the eye doctor's office, and she seems like a very real optometrist. Very professional, very well put together, very polite, very genuine. But her secretary is another story. And her secretary is none other than Count Olaf, yet again, in disguise. So we're going to see, potentially, what happened to Klaus before he came for this second visit, and what's going to happen next. Chapter 9. Oftentimes, when children are in trouble, you will hear people say that it is all because of low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is a phrase which here describes children who do not think much of themselves. They may think that they are ugly, or boring, or unable to do anything correctly, or some combination of these things, and whether or not they are right, you can see why those sorts of feelings might lead one into trouble. In the vast majority of cases, however, getting into trouble has nothing to do with one's self-esteem. It usually has much to do with whatever is causing the trouble. A monster, a bus driver, a banana peel, killer bees, a principal, than what you think of yourself. And so it was as Violet and Sunny Baudelaire stared at Count Olaf, or as the nameplate on his desk said, Shirley. Violet and Sunny had a very healthy amount of self-esteem. Violet knew she could do things correctly because she had invented many inventions that worked perfectly. Sunny knew she wasn't boring because her siblings always took an interest in what she had to say, and both Baudelaire sisters knew that they weren't ugly because they could see their pleasant facial features reflected back at them in the middle of Count Olaf's shiny, shiny eyes. But it did not matter that they thought these things because they were trapped. "Well, hello there, little girls," Count Olaf said in a ridiculously high voice, as if he were a really receptionist named Shirley instead of an evil man after the Baudelaire fortune. "What are your names?" "You know our names," Violet said curtly, a word which here means tired of Count Olaf's nonsense. "That wig and that lipstick don't fool us any more than your pale brown dress and sensible beige shoes. You're Count Olaf." "I'm afraid you're mistaken," Count Olaf said. "I'm Shirley. See this nameplate?" "Fitty!" Sunny shrieked, which meant that nameplate doesn't prove anything, of course. "Sunny's right," Violet said. "You're not Shirley, just because you have a small piece of wood with your name on it." "I tell you why I'm Shirley," Count Olaf said. "I'm Shirley because I would like to be called Shirley, and it is impolite not to do so." "I don't care for impolite," Violet said, "to such a disgusting person as yourself." Count Olaf shook his head. "But if you do something impolite to me," he said, "then I might do something impolite to you. Like, for instance, tearing out your hair with my bare hands." Violet and Sunny looked at Count Olaf's hands. They noticed for the first time they had grown his fingernails very long and painted them bright pink as part of his disguise. The Baudelaire sisters looked at one another. Count Olaf's nails looked very sharp indeed. "Okay, Shirley," Violet said. "You've been lurking around Paltryville since we arrived, haven't you?" Shirley lifted a hand to pat her wig into place. "Maybe," she said, still in her foolish, high voice. I roll my eyes constantly because, let me just say this, Bugs Bunny does better drag disguises than Count Olaf, okay? Bugs is top tier with that, okay? Count Olaf is D-rated, okay? Not good at all.
And you've been hiding out in the eye-shaped building this whole time, haven't you?
Violet said. Shirley batted her eyes. And Violet and Sunny noticed that beneath her one long eyebrow, another identifying mark of Count Olaf. She was wearing long, false eyelashes.
Perhaps, she said. And you're in cahoots with Dr. Orwell,
Violet said, using a phrase which here means working with in order to capture the Baudelaire fortune.
Aren't you? Possibly,
Shirley said, crossing her legs and revealing long white stockings imprinted with the pattern of an eye.
Popish!
Sunny shrieked.
Sunny means, Violet said, that Dr. Orwell hypnotized Klaus and caused that terrible accident, didn't she?
Conceivably,
Shirley said. And he's being hypnotized again right now, isn't he? Violet asked.
It's within the bounds of the imagination, Shirley said. Violet and Sunny looked at one another. Their hearts pounding, Violet took her sister's hand and took a step backward toward the door.
And now, she said, you're going to try to whisk us away, aren't you?
Of course not, Shirley said. I could offer you a cookie like a good little receptionist.
You're not a receptionist, Violet cried.
I certainly am, Shirley said. I'm a poor receptionist who lives all by herself and who wants very much to raise children of her own. 3 children, in fact. A smarty-pants little girl, a hypnotized little boy, and a buck-toothed baby.
Well, you can't raise us, Violet said. We're already being raised by Sir.
Oh, he'll hand you over to me soon enough, Shirley said, her eyes shining brightly. Don't be Violet said, but she stopped herself before she said Sird. She wanted to say Sird. She wanted to say Sir wouldn't do anything like that, but instead she wasn't so sure. Sir had already made the 3 Baudelaires sleep in one small bunk bed. He had already made them work in a lumber mill, and he had already only fed them gum for lunch. And as much as she wanted to believe that it was absurd to think that he would simply hand the Baudelaire orphans over to Shirley, Violet was not certain. She was only half sure. And so she stopped herself after half a word. Ab, said a voice behind her. What in the world does the word ab mean? Violet and Sunny turned round and saw Dr. Orwell leading Klaus into the waiting room. He was wearing another new pair of glasses and was looking confused. Klaus! Violet cried. We were so worried about... She stopped herself before she could say out, because she was trying to say about, when she saw her brother's expression. It was the same expression he had the previous night when he finally came back from his first appointment with Dr. Orwell. Behind his newest pair of glasses, Klaus had wide, wide eyes and a dazed and distant smile, as if his sisters were people he did not know so well. There you go again with ab, Dr. Orwell said. Whatever in the world does it mean? Ab isn't a word, of course, Shirley said. Only a stupid person would say a word like ab. They are stupid, aren't they? Dr. Orwell agreed, as though they were talking about the weather instead of insulting young children. They must be very low self-esteem. I couldn't agree more, Dr. Orwell, Shirley said. Call me Georgina, the horrible optometrist replied, winking. Now, girls, here's your brother. He's a little tired after his appointment, but he'll be fine tomorrow morning. Much more than fine, in fact, much more. She turned and pointed at the door with her jeweled cane. I believe you 3 know the way out. I don't, Klaus said faintly. I can't remember coming here. Excuse me. That often happens after optometry appointments, Dr. Orwell said smoothly. Now run along, orphans. Violet took her brother by the hand and began to lead him out of the waiting room. We're really free to go? She asked, not believing it for a moment. Of course, Dr. Orwell said, but I'm sure my receptionist and I will see you soon. After all, Klaus seems to have gotten very clumsy lately. He's always causing accidents. Rubbish! Sunny shrieked. She probably meant, they're not accidents. They're the results of hypnotism. But the adults paid no attention. Dr. Orwell merely stepped out of the doorway and Shirley wriggled her pink fingers at them in a scrawny wave. Toodaloo, orphans, Shirley said. Klaus looked at Shirley and waved back as Violet and Sunny led him by the hand out of the waiting room.
How could you wave to her?
Violet hissed to her brother as they walked back down the hallway. She seems like a nice lady, Klaus said. Frowny, I know I've met her somewhere before.
Balawut!
Sunny shrieked, which undoubtedly meant, she's Count Olaf in disguise. If you say so, Klaus said vaguely.
Oh, Klaus, Violet said miserably. Sunny and I wasted time arguing with Shirley when we should have been rescuing you. You've been hypnotized again. I know it. Try to concentrate, Klaus. Try to remember what happened.
I broke my glasses, Klaus said slowly. And then we left the lumber mill. I'm very tired, Veronica. Can I go to bed?
Violet, Violet said. My name is Violet, not Veronica.
I'm sorry, Klaus said. I'm just so tired. Violet opened the door of the building and the three orphans stepped out onto the depressing street of Poultryville. Violet and Sunny stopped and remembered when they had first reached the lumber mill after getting out of the train and had seen the eye-shaped building. So there is Dr. Orwell's office, and you see the kids on the sidewalk. Their instincts had told them that the building was trouble, but the children had not listened to their instincts. They had listened to Mr. Poe.
We better take him to the dormitory, Violet said to Sunny. I don't know what else we can do with Klaus in this state. Then we should tell Sir what has happened. I hope he can help us.
Agree, Sunny agreed glumly. The sisters led their brother through the wooden gates of the mill and across the dirt-filled courtyard to the dormitory. It was almost supper time, and when the children walked inside, they could see the other employees sitting on their bunks and talking quietly among themselves. I see you're back, one of the workers said. I'm surprised you could show your faces around here after what you did to Phil. Oh, come on now, Phil said, and the orphans turned to see him lying down on his bunk with his leg in a cast. Klaus didn't mean to do it, did you, Klaus? Mean to do what? Klaus asked quizzically. A word which here means because he didn't know that he caused the accident that hurt Phil's leg.
Our brother is very tired, Violet said quickly. How are you feeling, Phil?
Oh, perfectly fine, Phil said. My leg hurts, but nothing else does. I'm really quite fortunate. But enough about me. There's a memo that was left for you. Foreman Flocatano said it was very important. Phil handed Violet an envelope with the word Baudelaire's typed on the front, just like the typed note of welcome the children had found on their first day at the mill. Inside the envelope was a note, which read as follows. I just wanted to be funny. It's red, but I just wanted to play with the fact that the pronunciation is interchangeable depending on the context of the sentence. Memorandum to the Baudelaire orphans from, Sir, subject today's accident. I have been informed that you caused an accident this morning at the mill that has injured an employee and disrupted the day's work. Accidents are caused by bad workers, and bad workers are not tolerated at the Lucky Smells lumber mill. If you continue to cause accidents, I will be forced to fire you and send you to live elsewhere. I have located a nice young lady who lives in town who would be happy to adopt 3 young children. Her name is Shirley, and she works as a receptionist. If the 3 of you continue to be bad workers, I will place you under their care. And that is where we will end for today. I'm telling you kids, Count Olaf, the Napoleon of schemes, okay? They, as ridiculous as it may seem, he always tries his best to be 3 steps ahead. And we gotta be careful of people like that. Always be willing to take note, be vigilant of your surroundings and situations, because you never know. There's some crazy people out here, but there's also good people in the world. So we always have to do what? Be vigilant, be aware, and be observant of any and all things and how people treat us and how they treat other people. These are things that are very important in choosing people who love us and protect us. Very, very important. But without further ado, I will bid you all a good afternoon, and I'll see you all next time.